So if you're struggling to make your first 100K with Amazon at KDP, I'm going to walk you through strategies to help you make your first 100K fast. I'm going to walk you through my journey, how long it took me to make 100K with Amazon at KDP. Then I'm going to give you book ideas that you should be working around. Then give you ideas about building out a brand and what it really takes to build a six-figure KDP business. So make sure you watch till the end. So hi, if you're new here, I'm Danny, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of my journey if you're new to my channel. So I've started self-publishing in 2020. During the lockdown period, everyone was looking for something to do, and I stumbled across Amazon KDP. And to make my first $100,000, it actually took me over roughly 3 to 4 years to actually make that, and I made so many mistakes along the way. You can take a look at my KDP champ results just here. So I started in June 2020. Didn't really do that well up until December 2020, where I actually made over my first $1,000. But to that point, I really wanted to kind of just give up and really see where it was going. I was putting a lot of effort in during that first year. I think I published roughly over 600 books, but you can see from that point till June 2024, it took me roughly 4 years to make this amount. I was listening to a lot of the wrong advice, going round and round in circles, just publishing so many books, spending money, making so many mistakes. But when I actually started to crack down and implement some of the things I'm going to talk about in this video, then my next 100K, it only literally took me 12 months to make. So make sure you implement this advice. So the first point we're going to look at is higher royalties equals more money. And I would actually focus on higher earning books because, guys, if you're only earning $1 to $2 per royalty, you need to get your royalties up. Now I'm at the point where I'm earning $4, $5, $6 plus royalties per book. And if you take a look back at that point as well in my journey, you can see I've had roughly around 45,000 paid units. So roughly if you times that by $2 and a little bit more, you can see that my royalties, they weren't really that high. So that is a huge amount of books to sell, and I'm only selling them at slightly over $2. Whereas if maybe I chose to sell my books a little bit higher at a $4 royalty or $6 royalty, I would have got to that 100K much faster. And that might look like changing your strategies. Maybe instead of you doing coloring books, you might start doing activity books or fact books, basically books that you can charge a much higher royalty for. And you can add as much variety and detail as you want, and people are willing to pay a higher price. If we take a look at Amazon, we can see this example here where we see a few word search books. Now we see this publisher, they're willing to charge $13.99 for their word search books with 3,000 words, whereas these other publishers, they're only willing to charge $5.99, $4.99, and they're not even really making any royalties. So what is the point? Yes, maybe you want to rank and you want to get your book out there, but if these other publishers can charge so much higher, it's not like they've got a huge amount of reviews either, then don't be afraid to increase the price of your books slightly also. And you can see with this example, the same 100 sales, so the same customers and the vast difference. And this vast difference is going to help you actually give you so much more room for your ads. And there's just so much more benefits when you can compete at that higher price point. But you just have to make sure the quality of your books are much higher. So we're not creating average books anymore. We're making sure we're creating the best quality books that can compete and that can sell much higher. And using this same example, let's just say to make those $100 with a $6 royalty, you'd only need roughly 16 sales. So you need far less sales to make the same amount. And we know that throughout the year, there's always times that you're going to be able to make more, such as Q4, and times you're going to only be able to make much less. So there's just so much more benefits in charging much higher for your books. The second thing that's going to make the biggest difference is you start chasing first movers advantage. Too many people are just focused on what's selling now, and they just want to copy whatever book is selling well. But the best advantage you will get is if you would start to understand the market and think about what is coming next. Can you be the first one to create a book? Can you actually consider the trends that are going on and then maybe jump on it and create some sort of book around it? A great example is the 6-7 activity book that really killed it last December. This was one of the first publishers to jump on the trend and actually create an activity book around it. And you can really see how well it did during last December. It actually got to a BSR of 50 in the market, which is absolutely mind-blowing. But they were able to capitalize on something during the best period of Q4. And that's how they were able to make so many sales. And one thing a lot of people will do is try to go and copy the book and compete. But what smart publishers will do if they see something like this that's trending and maybe they're a little bit late to it, is they'll cross niche. And this is an example of another smart seller. So instead of going and competing and creating another activity book, they were able to combine two very popular niches. So you've got the 6, 7, and then combined it with the Would You Rather book for kids. And you've got over 300 questions. So this is a brilliant idea. And they actually didn't even release it in Q4. They released it in Q1. So you can see the book was actually released towards the end of January, but still it got to a BSR as low as 160. And this is just during the Q1 period. So the demand was so high. So that's one thing you really need to try and think about. Even if one angle is saturated, can you combine it with another popular niche and create a whole new unique angle? And this is how you're going to be able to get ahead of other sellers that are just out there copying books. You're only going to be able to start making those big bucks if you're coming up with fresh and new ideas to the market. And that first mover's advantage will help you be able to rank your book much better. Then eventually you'll get more reviews, you'll build sales history, and then really establish your book. And it's always going to be much easier to lead the market rather than really fight and push your way to a specific market. So make sure you start focusing on this first mover's advantage. You can use tools such as Google Trends, and just make sure you're keeping up to date on social media platforms. And you start taking a note of things that are happening and that are going on and maybe that kids are talking about. So third, focus on actually going deeper with your books, not wider. So you're not out there creating and just spamming Amazon with so many books. Start actually creating fewer, much better books. As I said, in my first year, I probably published roughly over 600 low content books. And now I'm at the point where I really might only publish 1 or 2 books a month, but they are well researched. I've made sure that there's a high amount of demand for the books. I'm seeing very low BSRs, that I'm not really competing in niches where there's tens of thousands of books where I have to spend a huge amount. I'm making sure I've got the best cover, enticing descriptions, and then I'm marketing books in the best way possible as I've already validated the demand. So it's much better just to have a few books that are selling well than having hundreds that are barely selling. And if you have a few books that are doing well, consider actually how you can develop, how you can actually improve the books. Can you have a better cover? Can you read through their reviews and actually maybe, even if it does have some negative reviews, take those points on board and actually improve parts of the book? Too many people would just throw a book up on Amazon and just expect it to sell. But you really need to be fine-tuning the book every single time and always improving on it. And this would actually tie in with my next point. And this point is to make sure that you're actually building around your buyers and not just keywords. Consider if somebody actually buys a book from you, then what else would they buy? So try to create books that would actually complement each other. So if they get one book, then they're more likely to get another book. And a brand that does this really well is Jeffrey Mason. You've probably seen these books all over. The Dad, I Want to Hear Your Story. It's an extremely giftable book that you'd love to get for your dad. And then he's also created a Mum, I Want to Hear Your Story. So then you can get one for your mother. You've got another one for your grandmother, your grandfather, your aunt, your uncle. I think they're even working on recipe books too. So you'll never probably just end up buying one book. You want to get several books, and that's the experience that you want to create. You really want to get those repeated customers that keep on coming back, because that's how you're going to build out a brand and get those repeated sales. And then you don't want to stop there. You want to try to build out an email list, maybe a social media platform, and start to build that interaction with your audience where you can ask them questions, get feedback, and that's going to set you apart from other brands. And it's really easy to build up that email list. You can just add a QR code to your book, and then you can provide your customers with something that they would really want in replace for their email. Now, this fifth point is probably one of the biggest changes that helped me blow up my earnings, is actually focusing on building towards Q4 during Q1 to Q3, focusing heavily on creating giftable books, and just make sure that those books, they are ranking quite well. As when it comes to Q4, then your books are just going to explode. And it's going to be much easier for you if your book's already ranked, rather than you're getting to Q4, then you have to spend a whole load of ad money to get your book in front of customers. It's much easier if you are already working towards this. And then you're going to see that compounding effect. I probably make as much in Q4 alone as I do throughout the rest of the year. So you really want to make sure that you are taking the time to actually find these in-demand niches and then trying to find your own unique angle. And if you are struggling to research and find ideas, there's a tool called Bookbeam that actually allows you to look over any period. So you can see what books sold really well. And as we're getting closer to Q4, you can use a tool like this and just see what books were selling during certain days last Q4. And then you can get ideas. So you can see here, we've got a How to Draw Everything book that reached a BSR of 1. We've got another book, Learn a Lot While You Sit on the Pot. So you can literally just scroll through, take ideas, and think about your own unique angle on the book that you want to create. Another easy strategy if you want to find out what is trending and what people might be looking for is you just type in your keywords into the search bar. Then you just go to the left-hand side and make sure you look at the last 90 days. And it's going to show you all the books for that search term that have been ranking quite well over the last 90 days. And then just scroll through, see common themes, see ideas. So with this word search for adults, we can see that this book has just been released a month and 19 days ago, and it's already got an 11,809 BSR. So then you can go back and you can just type that title into the search bar and just see if there's any other books that are doing well. And then maybe you want to create something around that, find your own unique idea. So just literally scroll through the first and second page, take a look at the BSRs, see what books have very low BSRs. So we've got these crime search, which is something that's trending now, only released a month and 9 days ago, and it's got an insanely low BSR. So this is the kind of demand that you want to be chasing. You can put crime search into the Amazon KDP search bar and then just scroll through. And then think about a unique angle that you can find. So the next point is actually using AI for speed and not laziness. And this is something that absolutely transformed my business, is actually using AI tools. Before, I used to do every part of the process very manually, and it was painful, but using these types of AI tools actually helped me to research much faster, analyze niches much faster, create concepts a lot quicker. I use AI for a lot of my book covers and interior content. Is going to allow you to test ideas much quicker and actually create marketing faster. So let's say now activity books that used to take me a week or two to create, I can now create them using AI in just a few hours. But make sure that you're not just flooding Amazon with absolute rubbish. The AI shouldn't replace quality. It should actually help you create quality much faster in everything you're doing. And I have tons of video on my channel of my AI process, whether you want to use it to create book covers, A+ content, or do research, there's all videos there for you. Another thing I don't really see people talking about, which is my 7th point, is actually building a moat around every winner that you have. What usually happens on Amazon is somebody creates a book with a first mover's advantage, and then you see floods of copycats. You see a ton of people going out there to copy the book, but you have to make it harder for people to compete against you. That's why there's an importance of actually building out a brand, having social media platforms, getting trademarks, making sure you have a unique style that people can clearly identify. You have to make it in such a way that people won't even want to bother competing with your book. And yes, this is going to take a lot of work, but most people don't want to do this. That's why they're not making 100K with Amazon KDP. You do have to put a lot of effort into it. It is going to take time, but you need to protect your business also. As I always see so many sellers, their books are initially doing well, but then the copycats flood in and it ends up going downhill. Or maybe it just takes a couple of negative reviews and their book is ruined. But make sure you build these systems and processes that I've talked about, and you're making sure that you're doing the best quality all throughout, and the customers will recognize and they'll keep on coming back to your brand because it's the main one. So guys, make sure you take these points on board. If you want to make your 100K fast, then make sure you are making a lot more per sale. It's going to get you there much faster than probably any other step. Get that first mover's advantage as well. Stop copying other people's books, but create unique ideas and concepts, then actually go deeper. You don't need hundreds and thousands of books to be making 100K with Amazon KDP. A few focus books will get you there, and then build a brand around your audience. Create books that will complement each other so customers will keep on coming back. Make giftable books so you do see that explosion during Q4. Use these AI tools that are going to be an absolute game changer, such as ChatGPT, Claude, there's Codex, there's Claude Code, that will actually help build these books for you and automate parts of the processes. Then finally, make sure that you are building a moat and dominating your niche. And then you'll be on your way to making your first 100K fast. Let me know what your favorite point was in this video. I am offering a one-to-one mentorship this Q4, but I'm only working with 5 people and 2 of the spots have already gone. So if that's something you're interested in, you can book a meeting with me in the description. A link will be there and we'll just have a quick discussion. Make sure that you are a right fit to work with me this Q4. I'll let you know the expectations, what it really takes to have a 5-figure month, and reveal parts of the business I've never shared on the channel. So if you're interested, then book a meeting below. So thanks for watching and let me know what you'd like to see in the next video.